Chat, we finally started it. Look, Kaz, it's not my fault. I didn't realize I didn't have a layout set up. Well, I mean, I should have known, but all right, let's get this. You know what? This is worth an at everyone. Boom. Eat this. Eat that, chat. I wish it was 10-10. So true. Alright, chat. It has been a fucking hectic week, to say the least. But we are here on a beautiful Wednesday. A beautiful Wednesday evening. Ready for the finals of the Magic Guard Draft League. This is a draft league we've been running in my Discord server for the better part of... oh my god, why is the borders of this not working? There we go. For the better part of like a couple months now at this point, doing some Scarlet and Violet Draft League, and our finals are today Kaz versus Sin of Wrath. Kaz's team on the left, Sin of Wrath's team on the right. If you're in the stream and you haven't already, make sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. This should be good fun. They're gonna start playing in about 18 minutes, but just hopping on early to chill out. I haven't streamed in a while, so you can enjoy that. Let's again put that Keldeo out to no, look, Keldeo has had a really good season, and this will be a potentially, this is a pretty interesting Keldeo matchup. What's up? I'm just chilling right now, Kalize. I got my Switch 2 today, which is pretty hype. Hold on, I'm just gonna... I fucking hate... Oh, don't lag. I hate that, like, OBS just, like, opens on the other monitor for some, like, ungodly reason. I don't know why. But chat, look, I finally got my... I got my Switch 2 today, which is super fire. I was playing Mario Kart earlier today. The new Mario Kart game is super sweet. I gotta start playing online a little bit, but we still got a little bit of Draft League to go for the rest of the year before we get there. How many kills will Keldeo get? That's an interesting one, right? There's a lot to consider with Keldeo. I think what's gonna hurt Keldeo a little bit is like you do have to contend with this Ogerpon and the Regidrago. Two very powerful Terra captains will be powerful against the Keldeo in this matchup. So that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for Keldeo to be effective here. It's probably specs. That's kind of what it would be. Specs are like some sort of sub, maybe even a setup set, though I think sub setup is kind of difficult to leverage. I think specs with some sort of way to push past the Primarina and the Regidrago are kind of what I'm expecting here. Either like through Terra, maybe like even Terra Fairy. Fairy is pretty clickable here into this team, right? Like the only thing that can't switch into Fairy is Earthworm. So like Specs Terra Blast is really good. I guess yeah, sub into Ogerpon. Yeah, what am I saying? You can tell that I just woke up from a nap. I'm not thinking right now. Yeah, like Fairy Terra Blast here is like really good from a spec set if we're thinking purely of Keldeo. And Keldeo has been like broken this entire season. Like if you look at the KD, Cinerath put up 31 kills with this Pokemon in the regular season, which is ridiculous, right? Like that's just like nasty work to try to put up that many kills with a single Pokemon. Hydrapple might be the better Terra here. I think both of them have like interesting justifications to Terra, right? Like Hydrapple wants to get out of the weakness from Regidrago and Primarina here. So yeah, I could see that. Which mod did surprise you so far during the entire season? I wish I got to watch more of it than I did. I keep seeing like Basculation show up and like have like good seasons. That Pokemon is kind of has been like interesting. Poison Keldeo maybe? Yeah, Poison Keldeo could be interesting as well. It doesn't really... I mean, it helps against the Regidrago a little bit. Fairy Apple's what I was maybe thinking. Yeah, it could be Fairy or Poison on either of these two for sure. Though I think Fairy is maybe a little more likely in Hydrapple. I think there's not really been. Entei had a really good season. Was that Terra Captain? I think that was. What was the Thriller had that one? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Terra Entei was interesting for 7 points. That was a really interesting like low tier Terra Captain. Does Fairy AV not beat the whole team on Hydrapple? It does like it does a pretty good job, right? Um, at pressuring. I was thinking like the Reggie Drago might be potentially something like Steel Reggie Drago. It does look pretty interesting typing wise here, especially against Expected Terra on Hydrapple. Good against Clefable, and then like Draco is really good against Ceras. Obviously, Reggie Seal can come in on that a lot. And that's, hey, Reggie Seal's just goaded with it, so it's not surprising to see Reggie Seal have a positive matchup here. Could be good as a Darkrai check if you want to use Clefable offensively. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, so I guess we've kind of waffled a lot about like the Terra Captain stuff. Let's kind of hone in on each side of the matchup here and kind of what we think and what we expect. On Kaz's side, there's a lot to kind of like here. I think Darkrai is generally pretty good. It does give a lot of free turns to Clefable, and there is no Fairy Resist outside of Orthworm, which could potentially be taken advantage of by certain Clefable sets. Aggressive Flamethrowers will obviously be really good against Orthworm. Was this a round 1 Glow King? Yes. But, like, to be fair, this is 16 Mon draft, so... I mean, it's still kind of crazy to take round 1 Glow King, but there is that little bit of context. Darkrai... I mean, it's the fastest Pokemon in the matchup, right? Except, I guess, the Ogerpon is technically the fastest, is the second fastest. So that's, like, one big thing for Kaz in this matchup, is that he's got the 2 fastest Pokemon in the matchup, which usually helps dictate a lot. It'll probably dictate potentially Choice Scarfers. Like, to me, what that means is if I'm Kaz, I'm prepping that... Yeah, I was going to say, so that means Scarf Cinderace is super likely here. As the Scarfer, just as a way to keep pace with the Ogerpon and the Darkrai. So if I'm Kaz, I'm almost certainly penciling in Choice Scarf Cinderace on my opponent's build kind of immediately. Given the fact that my 2 fastest Pokemon are checked really well by that. Keldeo, Keldeo just can check the Darkrai, but can't check the Ogerpon, so that might be just be trying to check with a more defensive purpose. Taking a look at the rest of the Pokemon, Iron Hands is interesting. Iron Hands, for me, struggles to find a good spot here in this battle to come in and impact the game really effectively. Like, you have to make, like, aggressive Ice Punches into Landorus. It's hard to come... I don't know what you come in on, like, besides Registeel, maybe. And then, like, yeah, you kind of have to, like, aggressively Ice Punch every time, so... That's a Pokemon I think that's going to be really tough to leverage here. I like Crocodile a lot here in this matchup. It can potentially come in on Scarf Cinderace. Can come in on Slowking Galar. And come in on Registeel as well. Though it will have to risk a body press on the Registeel a decent amount. Leads it with Policy. Yeah, it would have to be like very much like an offensively oriented kind of set. I don't think like Iron Hands will do much in the mid game here. Primarina is pretty good. It can switch into Keldeo bar a Terra. It can switch into Cinderace. Switch into Landorus. Comes in on Sableye. I think Primarina is a good kind of Pokemon to get yourself around this team as just kind of like a defensive check. Utilize Flip Turn very well and open up a lot of turns for your Darkrai and Ogerpon. Ogerpon's pretty good here, even without the Terra. Like, Landorus struggles to switch in to like the pre-Terra form to prevent the Defiant boost. Hard to prevent Defiant boost in that instance, and it's really hard to actually switch into the combination of stabs here. Hydrapple's the only Pokemon that can realistically do it consistently. Into like Ivy Cudgel and Knockoff. I guess into stabs, like into Knockoff Ivy Cudgel. Sableye can do it as well in theory, and Priority Burn it, but that's not a great long-term plan. And then Registeel can of course do it as well, but then you get U-turned on into stuff like Iron Hands or Crocodile, and that opens up better turns for that Pokemon. So Necrozma is interesting. Necrozma is always a Pokemon that can do so much in these matchups, and especially where Cinderace wants to U-turn, that could be another opportunity for weakness policy in this battle. Though it could just be defensively oriented to come in on stuff like Slowking, Keldeo, and Clefable, and even Hydrapple, and just trying to manage those Pokemon that way. Regidrago, it's interesting, right? Because I think Dragon spam is pretty good into Cinnabrath's team besides the Clefable, but it's pretty easy to slap a Terra on for the Clefable. Poison being the obvious one to do that, because Steel would make you susceptible to fighting Stab from the Keldeo, and I think you still want your Regidrago to be able to come in on Keldeo to a certain degree. And then Orthworm is okay. Probably tries to Hazard Stack here, though I don't know how effective Hazard Stack here is going to be against this type of team from Cinnabrath. So if I'm Kaz, I think like my intuition is telling me we see Darkrai, Crook, Prim, Ogerpon, Necrozma, and Regidrago. And we probably see Iron Hands and Orthworm stay behind. What does Kaz do about T-Spike Chi-King? Yeah, this would be another reason like why like a poison on Regidrago would make sense, because then you can get those T-Spikes out of the way. I mean, heavy duty boots would realistically be the reason here, and just like it's kind of hard for Slowking, at least in the early game, to get in and leverage itself, like against a comp of like Darkrai, Crook, Prim, Ogerpon, Necrozma, and Regidrago. It isn't necessarily easy for Slowking to find early turns, depending on how Kaz wants to set it up. Like if you lead Necrozma, you can really punish Toxic Spikes really effectively. So that's kind of where I think we're going from Kaz's side of this battle. Gonna have to put up LeBron. Look, if anyone's gonna do it, Regidrago could put up that performance. Let's get into Cinnabrath's side of the battle here. Obviously, kind of Cinnabrath's team is really focused around Terra Keldeo and Terra Hydrapple. Like the two Terra captains are very powerful here. Terra Keldeo has been like his team's goal the whole season. He's got 31 kills with it, which is like 5 wins. Fuck. God damn it, I'm too tired to be doing streams this late. Keldeo's been like his team through and through, and that's been his entire game plan. Slowking Galar is like okay, pretty decent here. As we said, kind of alluded to, T-Spikes will be pretty decent here. Especially if Kaz doesn't bring a lot of boots, though I expect a good amount of these Pokemon to be boots. So I think the effectiveness of Slowking Galar might not be too high as a T-Spike setter, but certainly something that we can come to expect in this battle. Landorus is pretty good. There's a lot of Pokemon that you would want to switch in on and intimidate. Ogerpon, you kind of want that to be obviously Terra beforehand. You're not going to take those Ivy Cudgels very well, though, but Iron Hands are Crocodile Pokemon that are managed pretty well by Landorus. Iron Hands, you kind of require those aggressive Ice Punch turns. Cinderace is kind of the obvious choice Scarper here, right? There's a decent amount that can switch in, but a lot of the answers aren't great long-term, especially if Regidrago is in a position where it feels like it has to utilize its Terra to get out of the fire resistance. Keldeo is the interesting one. We've talked about a lot of interesting sets, like AV no Terra is an interesting option. That's kind of pretty difficult to switch into long term. Obviously, Fairy Terra Blast from like Specs is almost impossible to switch into long term. That like kind of 3-prong layer of coverage. Though that Pokemon is pretty often just revenge killed by Ogerpon. Clefable's interesting. It can come in on Darkrai. It can sometimes come in on Iron Hands, depending on the set, though not consistently. And then it's a good Regidrago answer if it's not Terra specifically for the Clefable. Though I do think Hydrapple might be the better Terra captain here. This Pokemon is going to be, I think, Kaz's most difficult Pokemon to manage here. Terra Fairy with Nasty Plot is going to be really good in this matchup and would be one of maybe the considerations to bringing Orthworm here. Sableye interesting, though I don't think super impactful in this battle. Obviously, Party Will-O-Wisps are kind of good. But anything this Pokemon does, like you just get Primarina in for free, and then you kind of Kaz gets into a situation where he can either just spam his own fairy moves or flip turn into advantageous turns for his Crocodile against like Slowking or Registeel or even Iron Hands in that case. So if I'm Cinnabrath and 2 Dark Block Prankster, yeah, also a good point on that one as well. So kind of difficult for this Pokemon to really gain value here. I think if I'm Cinerath, this feels like a top 6 angle, with Registeel potentially coming on something like Regidrago, considering the Terra likely has to come for Clefable. So Registeel then becomes good in that matchup, and then comes in on Primarina. So yeah, I think it's most likely top 6, but Registeel does have a lot of potential use case to be in this battle. So here we go, chat. We got 4 minutes left for the battle. Who do we think... Shut up, Siri. Who do we think chat is going to win? I'm going to put a poll up here in the chat. Start a poll. As we start the big finals. I'm obviously going to back Kaz to win. Because I think, Kaz is obviously one of the better players in the community. It is a friend of mine. I want my best friends to win their Pokemon games. But I think that, looking at this matchup, I think that there are things that can go right for both players. And I think realistically, in this kind of more... there's kind of more matchup where there's kind of volatile threats on either side. I kind of would generally favor Kaz in a position like that, especially where I think he has the higher volume of them. Though I think that Cinerath might have the best one in Terra Hydrapple. I think that Kaz's combination of his team might just be enough, especially if you're Poison Regidrago. That will help a lot against that Hydrapple set that we expect to be so good here. Yeah, the power of friendship. That's for sure. All right, I think we can move now into Showdown. Oh, I potentially revealed things there. That should be fine. We should be good there in chat. Waiting for the battle. Let's see. Is this does this look good? Yeah, this looks fine. Did you just leak all your teams? No, I didn't. Just leak all your teams. I think I leaked 4 Pokemon that I have for another battle this week. I did make sure to delete the LTM battle that I have this week. It wasn't there. No worries. I think Sin has matchup. Yeah, maybe. I think Sin's matchup may be a little bit better, but I definitely don't think it's a relevant. I don't think it's a relevant amount better to affect the outcome of the game. Realistically, at least in my opinion. So chat, we should be right here. Kaz is idle. Shout out to Kaz in the IDM room. The IDM room, a room made for the true gamers of all time. So we'll end the poll here. Most of us thinking Kaz is likely going to win this one. Which I think, it's Kaz, right? I think a lot of people are just going to pick Kaz by default in a situation like this. But hey, Cinerath's matchup could go really, really well here with the Hydrapple and Keldeo. He's put himself into a lot of positions where those Pokemon just outright win him games. And they're powerful Terra Captains, and they're the best Terra Captains for a reason, that's for sure. So let's see. All right, Kaz online. I was Kaz wasn't gonna make his way. There we go, right into here early. They didn't even have to link me. I was lurking in the IDM room. All right, what did Kaz bring? So Kaz left home the Regidrago and the Orthworm. Regidrago leave behind is interesting. I would have figured that Pokemon would have been pretty decent here. And then Cinerath has left home the Registeel and left home the Glowking. If you're Cinerath, I think maybe you've probably built in a way that you think that the situations that Glowking get taken advantage of are probably too tough to deal with. And the Terras here, so obviously Grass, Ogerpon. We have Fighting Keldeo and Steel and Hydrapple. Steel is really interesting. I'm not sure about Steel. I think Fairy is just a strictly better typing here. For the Hydrapple, I feel like Steel actually opens you up to a different set of weaknesses that you had some weaknesses before. to like random like fairy terras and like ice and stuff. But like steel opens you up to like crocodile now and to like iron hands. So not 100% sure about the steel hydrapple. But we're right off here off the bat. Elite Necrozma. We were kind of expecting Elite Necrozma kind of in the builder, right? This was kind of one of the good leads against like Glowking lead. Good against Keldeo lead here as well. And Necrozma just like generally one of the generally just a really good lead into this matchup. I expect Kaz probably just wants to get his rocks up here. As we just see, wow, just straight up. Uh-oh. Wow, that just fucking chewed that. Oh, or weakness, bulky weakness policy on our Keldeo. So I expected Kaz to just get up his rocks, but the Photon Geyser is going to be eaten. And now Keldeo is in a position where it's going to try to deal a hell of a lot of damage here. It's definitely going to kill this Necrozma. This Surf already, doing over half. This Surf now going to do a million damage to something else. The only problem with this now is like you're gonna, if you're Kaz, you just sack a Pokemon here and then go straight into Ogerpon, and then a Vacuum Wave on the Ogerpon. But it looks like we're just gonna go Primarina. 41% is nasty. 41% is nasty damage, and considering that we're fighting Terra, we're not gonna be able. It's not gonna matter here too much as we just get the Psychic right. We're not gonna be able to pick up the kill. We could have maybe picked up the kill with the Terra. Yeah, I was going to say, Claws. Maybe do we not pick up the kill with Terra? Maybe we really think we need the Terra on Hydrapple here. But yeah, looking at the calc, we could have been able to pick up that kill. So Sin of Wrath valuing the Terra to use for Hydrapple later here. And probably the steal for Ogerpon makes sense. So you could just have fighting coverage. I guess fighting coverage is kind of hard to bring, but Registeel was in the back. And now I think Kaz probably just sacks this Pokemon off. Like, if I'm Kaz, I probably just attack here, because Cineratha might just rock. I mean, I don't know what, like, you would say the Primarina for. So, like, if I'm Cineratha, it would be really random for me to Stealth Rock here. But, like, I don't know what value you're getting at a 15% Primarina. Maybe just, like, a sack on Cinderace is pretty free here. And if you're Kaz, you can just... Can't really switch. I mean, you can't switch an EQ. You have to go Ogerpon, which is kind of dicey potentially, and it doesn't really honestly give you that much. Oh my god, Draft League, true, L5. We are playing Draft League right now. This is Pocket Monsters Draft League. Insert Custap. It could be Custap. Custap would be interesting. It's worth considering. If you're, I guess it's worth considering if you're Cinerath, but I think it's unlikely. We're not on Wi-Fi, right? So like the chance of Custap Berry happening is pretty low. And Addison probably wasn't helping either of these players prep, so unlikely to see a Custap Berry there. Yeah, so that was the most likely turn, right? Just sack to Earthquake. Keep it simple. Keep it simple from both players' side here, and then you get a free turn here for Kaz. Expert analysis from the Big E. True. This is a hard-hitting analysis you come for when you come to the channel for Draft League. So now, what do you go into if you're Kaz? A lot of interesting options in terms of your prep that could have been brought for this. It looks like Crocodiles is going to come in to get an Intimidate off. Is kind of the easiest option. There are a few more offensive options you could take to like either Darkrai, Ice Beam, or go back into Necro, but both of those don't seem super convincing, especially where you have a full HP Crocodile to intimidate this Pokemon, go into, and either click Knockoff or get my rocks up. Dude, if I'm Kaz, I'm going... Dude, I was just going to say, if I'm Kaz, I'm going for a crazy gunk shot here. If if you're raw, right? I know the problem is that Kaz is definitely not Kaz is not the type of person to just unnecessarily make a play like that. That's just like not even that's just not real like that. That's an unnecessarily risky play that can just go wrong for no reason, especially where Knockoff is just there's just literally no negative downside to clicking Knockoff here. Yeah, or just click rocks here. Look, L5, you and I L5, we might have been goated with it. We might have been the best players on the planet. But Kaz is just going to take the free rocks or the knock there every time because the rocks are going to give you so much beneficial. You call them I call it just winning, right? You know what it is? I would have just won the game on that turn personally. And we see a 30% come off here from the Giga Train. So, but like that's good though, right? Our rocks are up. We get some health back on our Necrozma. Dodge a Dragon Tail. That's free more HP, right? Like we're feeling pretty good about this spot right now for Kaz. Rocks are so important to Scarf. That's like that's kind of the main thing, right? Like you lost Primarina early as a result of this Keldeo sequence. So if it's Scarface, you really want to have that Pokemon, have Rocks out to handle that Pokemon. No, yeah, Nasty would have been so nice here. But Terra Steel makes it weird in that I guess it makes more sense to be a super defensive set with Steel to manage the Ogerpon in that case. Although I think if you're that set, like you just accept play rough, as like a thing. Nasty would have been really good in that spot, right? Like Kaz was just doing literally 0 damage here the whole time. So now, I mean, this is really forcing the Terra, right? Like if you're Cinerather, you're staying in, you're forced to Terra this up, because Ice Beam is like just too obvious of an option in this matchup. Though I think it looks like we're going to see a double out. Force the Terra Steel, see a Giga Drain here. The Steel is Terra, or Terra is Steel here. And then Kaz only has the Terra Ogerpon in the back. So it looks like we forced the Terra. This is still trying to do defensive Hydrapple stuff. And now this makes it a little bit easier for Iron Hands to check this Pokemon, especially where it's really defensive. It looks to be more defensive set, right? So now you can just like click. All right, you know what? Kaz might just be the luckiest player to ever do it. Because now you can go into Iron Hands and just like click Ice Punch here for free if you want. Do you not use Duckling for this? You did not. That's crazy. All right, Sableye, a big Sableye comes in. And now we can just go Crocodile for free because this blocks any Prankster stuff. We get knocked off here, and we see Rocky Helmet. Okay, so Rocky Helmet, definitely just like a way to punish that that Cinderace here. Big Light Clay. Luckily for Cineratha, he gets to use Light Clay before it gets banned in Draft League by Big Smogon. And that's a pretty big crit for Kaz too. Though I think like if you're Cineratha, you can recover off all of this damage pretty easily. So I don't think that matters too much in this battle. Though, you know, I mean, he might not have it. It's showing up in the finals once again. I mean, screens, yeah, I mean, like, screens for setup Clef, maybe? Because, like, you would have, like, screens for a nasty Hydrapple would have been the kind of the vibe, right? I think in that sense. For screens for the dead Keldeo, there's also that. CM Keld, but dead. Okay, so we do reflect here just to gain all that HP back, and Kaz just knocking off to prevent things from coming in. So, it looks like we're going to go into Hydrapple. If I'm Kaz, I'm Earthquaking here, and we get the knock. And it is AV, so we were thinking AV on the Keldeo, but it's just AV Hydrapple. Okay, we get a Rhapsody going. So now, like, we've knocked out the AV, so now we can start Nasty Plotting. So that was the 5-head set here, is we're Nasty Plot, Assault Vest. And now it looks like, but the problem with this set is Necrozma just like sits on you and like heals up every time. And now like, I mean, you just keep going back into it. Like this set can't really do anything here. Though Kaz kind of struggles to break it with this Reflect, right? Kind of funnily enough, like you can't ever stay in. Especially with the Giga Drain. Yeah, we just wasted all the screen turns. Yeah, we kind of just like lost our Light Clay and like did nothing. Here. Like, I guess we prevented Crocodile from, like, earthquaking us, but, like, it was never going to. Are we literally just going to stall ourselves out of Giga Drains? I mean, we're going to stall at the Moonlights at least, I guess. But, like, if we're just Dragon Tailing, now we get Iron Hands in. This is a good turn. If you're Kaz, you Ice Punch here. You gotta have the aura to Ice Punch here. Like, Obviously, it feels like Cinerath is not doing a lot here. But in theory, right? Like this game, I feel like Cassius has. Yeah, I guess you Sableye easy, but if your Kaiser Ice Punch here, or Heavy Slam is a good mid-ground click as well. Yeah, some silly little... Yeah, Stealth Rocks would have been nice here. We could have got them up with the... I mean, we didn't have a situation to get them up with the Landorus, unfortunately. But yeah, Heavy Slam, a good mid-ground click here. Knocks out that Sableye. And now, no more screens the rest of the battle. And if I'm gonna guess, Kaz probably has speed on this for the Clefable as well. So that's something to keep in mind later in this battle. But now, I mean... Landorus comes out here to intimidate, but Iron Hand's actually, like, with the Keldeo and the Sableye gone, Iron Hand's actually kind of cooks in this battle here. Like, coming in on, like, getting opportunities to come in on Hydrapple, it can like, come in on Cinderace. I mean, Willow Cinderace could happen. But yeah, obviously we have to go Landorus here. There's literally no other option that we have been afforded. And at this point, Kaz can obviously just really go into Crocodile. We're at a point now where because you knocked out the Sableye, that's one less defensive piece. You can force Hydrapple and Clefable to take more damage here. And we just see an Earthquake come out, 32%. Unfortunately, Gunk Shot now is not an Aura play, though I think you could Earthquake here. I guess you can't Earthquake, because I think at this point, Cinerath is just incentivized to stay in, right? This is a 3-hit KO. Yeah, Rockless Land. Yeah, we also could have rocked on that turn. He might just not have rocks. He could be Rocks Clefable. Maybe like your Rocks Clefable, because you would figure out... Because you kind of figure maybe that like Darkrai is like such a free Pokemon in a lot of these turns that you just like get Clefable in earlier. Rocks ain't saving this position. I mean, Rocks gives you a chance, right? I do think we're like definitely way too far behind at this point now. After losing our Sableye and our Keldeo didn't pick up the kill. I think, honestly, like, if I'm thinking about maybe what we could have done differently, honestly, I think maybe we just take the kill with the Keldeo. Right? In comes Clefable, gets knocked off. It is Heavy Duty Boots Unaware. A classic set here. That's an Aura special. Or not an Aura special. Don't listen to me. I was thinking of I was thinking of Sword and Shield. L5 and Owen were talking about Oras earlier, so I had Oras on the mind. I hope you guys can forgive me for that slip up. But certainly now, like, if you have rocks, right, you got to click it here. I mean, we got a Stealth Rock. This guy's so dumb. Yeah, I might be the dumbest player in all time. Chat, we have 17 people here and only 7 likes. Surely we can get a bunch more likes for me saying Unaware Heavy Duty Boots in Oras. Wait, why does Kaz have no defensive Clefable Moonblast switch in? He doesn't have a Fairy Resist on his team, outside of the Orthworm. I mean, this is a decent amount of damage, but Necrozma should be able to at least hold this off for at least a little bit. Like, yeah, Necrozma's doing fine. Necrozma's doing his job. Now, if it Calm-Minded here, now we could get a little shiced, but looks like a Fairy Resistant. Yeah, it looks like it shrugged the damage off. I don't know what you're talking about, Owen. Now, do we only have 3 Moonlights left? Who's to say? See him one time and you win? Thoughts? I mean, if you're CM, there's like a decent chance that like it's not able to, this Iron Hands might outspeed, and then you just get Heavy Slammed and nuked. Photon turns off Unaware. That's true. You could just CM and just like claim a Pokemon here, especially where like Hydrapple is just going to try to Dragon Tail you. Or just going to Photon right away. Deal 30 damage. Alright, so a little Encore action here from Sin of Wrath, playing around that. So that opens up a turn for him to heal up here, back to full HP. And now this Pokemon is like low-key kind of a problem, right? Like you're running out of Photon Geysers now. Like unless, like even, you can't even crit this, right? Like crit does 45. So, like, even that's not an option to just, like, hacks him here. So, like, this is a good opportunity to just get back to full HP for Clefable. And now this Pokemon's, like, kind of a problem to actually to manage. Expert Math, thank you, Burger. They call me the mathematician, is what they do. And now we're going to go into Ogerpon here. Ooh, straight up just Moonblast. Okay. That's tough. Uh-oh, yeah, okay. Well, this might be... Uh-oh, we might gotta pack this one up, Cinerath. Cinerath, we might have to pack this one up, big dog. You might have just lost the goddamn game. Yeah, hit the Terra and kill some Pokemon, bruh. Yeah, Clefable's gone. Bruh, if this is... Look, if this is Choice Scarf, Cinderace, does this just die from 75? Hold up. How bulky is Cinderace? It's gotta have a little bit, right? Hold up. We gotta do some calculations here. Ivy Cudgel, Grass Terra. That can kill. That can kill. Oh, that's max HP too. Yeah, that just was straight up fucking kills. If this is Scarf. Yeah, if this is Choice Scarf, well, I guess you just go Hydrapple here every time. Okay. Chat, we're getting a little excited. Though if this is fighting move, if this is superpower, this is Cinema. And this Pokemon just straight up dies too. Oh, Stomping Tantrum. Damn, that didn't even kill? Alright, yeah, we gotta Dragon Tail this guy out. Oh, and now we get into a big ol' Iron Hands. And now we're kind of in an unwinnable situation for Cinerath here. The drop, I mean, the drop was pretty unfortunate, pretty shiced. And now this is kind of tough. Yeah, Uncle Mike is in, and Uncle Mike is going to lay a beat down on one of these Pokemon. Which one Cinerath lets get the beat down? I think it's time for Kaz to finally show his aura and click Ice Punch into the Landorus. I think it's high time we finally had the aura to do that. Because I think, you could sack this Pokemon and, like, I guess what do you do if you're Cinerath? You sack this Pokemon and just, like, Scarf Landorus and just, like, Earthquake crit, like, the whole team. But that doesn't even matter with Ogerpon on the back. Because, like, you just don't have the switches then at that point to get Choice Scarf Cinderace into a productive turn, especially with the Crocodile. I think at this point we just don't have the Pokemon capital. We just don't have the capital on Cin's side to actually do anything about this situation. Losing the Sableye on that switch was pretty tough. And I think honestly losing the Keldeo, like I think obviously the Steel Terra was like kind of useful here in certain spots, but I don't know if it actually like specifically mattered. And like losing the Keldeo to not using the Terra, I think honestly might come back to bite him in this battle, because like he lost the Pokemon advantage pretty quickly. Chat disconnected. What the hell? Chat, are we back? Yeah, Kaz did Aura Ice Punch. I knew he fucking would. Yeah, that's an Aura Ice Punch. I respect that. Successfully connected. If he has to be set up... if it has to be set up center, but it doesn't set up anything. He lost like 10 turns ago. Kaz, Kaz had to go for the Ice Punch. Kaz is horrible. Ice Punch, yeah, dude. Why did you Ice Punch the Steel type, man? What are you doing? Oh my god, this guy's the worst player to ever play Draft League. Dude? How did this guy ever go for max price in DPL? What a bum. Yeah, at this point, right? Like 2 Pokemon versus 5. Even if this is Choice Scarf Cinderace or even setup, you just don't have the switches to make it work. You probably forgot about Terra. Yeah, someone get this man a type chart. What an old head. Yeah. Dude, Kaz is probably one of those people who says Usum is the most popular old gen format and says that we should only play these Usum and Oras gamers. I think that would be the type of user Kaz would be. Ash Ketchum learning. Dude, it's like the Ash Ketchum early anime type chart where fucking Pikachu somehow just like smokes Onix in the anime for like 0 reason. Scarf Cinder win? I mean, not with Crocodile, right? Unless you like cook the Crocodile. Alright, we just go into this. I mean, like, Scarf Cinder maybe wins. Surely not, right? Like, we can't lose our Primarina and then just, like, auto get, like, our pack, like, just watched by the fucking... by Scarf Cinderace. That can't be how this game ends. Just sack this. Oh, here comes OG Albino pathing the rest of it. Yeah, we can... Crook is weird. I don't know. I might have saved HP on this Crook because this just fucking dies now. I guess Necrozma comes in here. So this is just like Scarf. Okay, so it looks like we're just going to use Necrozma to kind of outlast the rest of the team instead of sacking Iron Hands. So it should just be, all right. All right, you know what? Kaz just wants to win with Calm Mind. All right, I respect it. I respect it. Just try to use the Necrozma to win here. Yeah, I mean, Cinderace, this is also just Fizz-Def as fuck, yeah. Fizz-Def, Calm Mind, Moonlight. We only have one Moonlight left after this. So that's, I guess, important to note. But, yeah, put the fries in the bag, yeah. You know what, Kaz? Why not just get another one, right? This should be enough here after the Moonlight. 8,000 EV, Necrozma, true. No crit, never lucky. All right, goodbye, Landorus T. And then we should see Cinderace go down here pretty quickly, even if this is Scarf. Uh-oh. Endure? He's got to be showing tech. There's no way this does anything. Damn, that was close. All right, chat, that was close. That shit almost killed. If that killed, that could have been peak. That could have been peak for a second. But I don't think you're like, if you're like you're not Scarf Ogerpon. Dude, he won. Dude, he might have won. Does that kill Iron Hands though? I gotta know. It was probably a roll. We could bring Kaz in here and have him waffle about the game if we want, chat. I'm sure if you bully him long enough, he'll come in and talk about that. Blaze boosted. Wait, does it get reversal? Yeah, I think it does, right? Damn, that could have been pretty peak. Damn it. Holy fuck, that could have been scary. Let's see. I'll tell Kaz to pull in. He might have to do his own calls. The ADV tech is insane. Dude, he almost got Tratufo'd. That's crazy. Tratufo Necro. Endure Gunk Pyro. ST, okay. Yeah, I think that, like, it depends on the Pyro. I think there's a good chance that Hands just lives that, though. So I think that doesn't, like, necessarily matter. Gen 3 sets never die. True. Well, chat, that was a really good game. We'll see if Kaz wants to come in and waffle for this game for a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to bed. Dude, the Dragon Tail misses, honestly, high key might mattered a little bit. Literally 2 HP. Why didn't we go Cinder when Reflect was up? Yeah, I mean, if Reflect was up, we would have been able to actually leverage that Pokemon, get an SD up, and like maybe Endured. All right, Kaz said give him 3 minutes and he's going to pull up. I'm going to get myself a water, and then we'll be right back to waffle with Kaz. All right, chat. Look at Kaz in here. Pebbles up, won the game. Yeah, honestly, Rocks might have won that game too. Well, it depends on what happens. Oh, Kaz, how was that potentially peak at the end? How dodgy was that end game? Okay, I figured Hands didn't die. So yeah, I kind of figured that was gonna end up being the case. We can't hear, bro. Oh wait, hold on, Kaz. They can't hear you. Give me a second. Why does it always switch? It always switches off. All right, you can hear him now. Kaz said it didn't matter the damage rolls. Yeah, we'll watch through the game. Did you have Gunk Shot on Crocodile? You had no aura for not Gunk Shotting. You had no aura for not Gunk Shotting the incoming Hydropple. Oh, okay. Well, then that's tough, I guess. Was it 25% roll on Necro and 62% roll on hands? We can't. What do you mean we can't? There's no way we can't hear cast. Oh my fucking god. Do I have this fucked up in this stream? Output. Yeah, hold on, chat. I'm dumb. Okay, now you can hear him, chat. We should be good now. I prefer it like this.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can I be heard? Can I be
Mm.
heard?
Like
Hello,
it's
hello,
always better when
hello.
we don't have him in the call. Spewing propaganda. Yeah, this is an interesting battle. Keegan talking to Ghost is
Yeah,
also true.
I was definitely relieved when Keldeo revealed what it was, but then Hydrapple was a thing. When Hydrapple was a nasty plot, I was like, oh, this is definitely over.
Yeah. We figured like in the like looking at this, like I'm looking at turn two. It's kind of hard because like with the we were thinking pre-battle like Terra Fairy, like nasty plot would have been like a really good like Hydrapple set and would have like pushed through a lot of damage here rather than like this defensive steal. But I'm looking at like
That
turn.
was that Hydrapple that you're talking about. Like I was in regular season when we played, I was so worried about Hydrapple, nasty plot, and
Mhm.
I think it was Fairy that I was worried about. I was finding ways to like jam Orthworm on the team, and I was like, this sucks too bad. But then he didn't bring it at all last time because he was very worried about Ogerpon.
Mhm.
So he used Hydrapple defensively in that way for Ogerpon, and I was kind of thinking that that was what was going to happen again
Yeah.
when the Steel Hydrapple came out, and then also when Keldeo didn't even tear. I was
Mhm.
thinking like because I was play rough last time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I would. This was like turn two is interesting because I guess like you want this steal, um, but I almost wonder like part of like what like at least from like Cinerast's side that I think kind of fell apart is the Pokemon Capital meme is that like I wonder if like like if you use your Terra to like get this kill and you keep Keldeo because like he ran out of Pokemon like pretty quickly in this battle. Um, like by going
Yeah,
Sableye at like 50% and stuff like that. So like if you use Terra and at least kill the Primarina and like maintain a Pokemon advantage, like Keldeo can at least come in and like still check Crocodile and like deal good damage like Necrozma in the mid game because Necrozma has to now find an opportunity to heal up. So I don't know. I was thinking like Terra here to at least like guarantee the kill. Um,
yeah. It also kind of felt like when he Terra the Hydrapple, like being Steel was almost like strictly worse versus all of my Pokemon.
mm-hmm,
Like it actually, like as soon as I could just see the Hydrapple and always kill with Iron Hands, like because he was detailing to get Necrozma out, but like as soon as I was literally like, I'll just keep doing this until he throws me an Iron Hands, and then I'm getting a Pokemon.
mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like this Secret Sword. Yeah, I think we try to kill there with Secret Sword. Um, I always live CC from hands.
Yeah, from full, but you weren't from full
Yeah, but
for
like
most of the
it's so,
game,
but like this
and you're
Hydrapple, if it, yeah, if Hydrapple is steel, right? Like you're putting it in situations where it's gonna have to take chip all of the time, um, especially with how you
but
want to
also
play.
like the fickle beam back to me from defensive Drapple was like did like 39 or some
Mm-hmm.
shit to hands or something really
Yeah.
lame like that.
So we got our rocks up here. I mean, I would. I mean, we would have gunshot it, but we also would have had investment to make that play aura. So I can understand why you didn't
Yeah,
then. In that case.
yeah. The cool thing is that Earthquake into Gunk Shot drops Clef if the
Mm-hmm.
plays happen to work that way. But
Wait, what's up,
raw
Sunky?
Gunk Shot to catch a Hydrapple was probably not happening.
Yeah, no, probably not. Not the vision here. There's a few Dragon Tail misses which are potentially, I guess, consequential in theory in the game, but we know now that the Iron Hands always lives, so that doesn't really matter at that point. Um, we see, yeah, we
Yeah,
see
I don't
like
think
in
they
this
mattered because they came after I got a heal off, which is all that I really
exactly,
all that Crosman was able to do was heal anyway. I was double psychic move, so like I was
yeah,
really just showing up to
mm-hmm.
heal.
Yeah, and we see like in like the turn 10 area, we forced the Terra, which like we knew like it was obviously going to Terra the whole time, but actually locking in the Terra then makes like Crook and Iron Hands a little bit better in those sequences. And then we get into what, turn 12. This is the screen's turn.
That not crit was quite unfortunate,
Yeah,
I
this
will
was
say.
pretty nasty. Losing the light clay and the crit, yeah, pretty brutal. Um,
Yeah. The only thing is that because this Hydrapple wasn't able to force anything on Necrozma, whether Sableye was healthier or not, like I could always stall out the screen turns like really easily.
hmm
But like when I raw heavy slam to catch Sableye, like that play is only possible because of how low Sableye was.
Exactly, yeah. Like we were thinking Ice Punch, but like Heavy Slam obviously covers the Sableye, which we now know, like we know has been like crit, and like that play is now there. Because like if
Yeah, I was
you're
thinking of
if you're
ice punching.
Sensai, like how do you ever heal that Pokemon up except on that turn?
Yeah, I was thinking of ice punching, but then I checked the calc and heavy slam after Rocks just straight up killed. So I was
Oh
like,
well, yeah,
Lando's probably Yachi Berry anyway, so I'm just
yeah,
heavy.
at that point, like especially with like Keldeo down, like you take Sableye, and now like you're at what four Pokemon, and like these Pokemon are, I mean, like Landorus is forced to come out here, right? And like Landorus just opens up like pretty free, like a pretty free Crook switch, and then Crook is like almost impossible for any of these Pokemon to want to stay in or switch into at this point, because you have to like eat the knockoff with Clef, go into Hydrapple and just get like EQ'd after the fact or something, or I guess like Hydrapple you just go into Necrozma, it just loses all the progress. So this would be a situation where like having the Keldeo would have been really nice if we would have
Yeah,
like
I think
moved
my
the
team in
Terra.
general was just way more LDO.
Yeah,
Well, actually, no, I wouldn't say that. If Hydrapple was nasty plot, that would have been really bad.
yeah.
But it wasn't.
If we were Nasty Plot, I think it's like different, right? But like in
I'd
this
probably
space,
straight up lose. I straight up probably
oh,
lose if it's
yeah,
nasty
we were
plot.
kind of we like I think like in like the like early teen sequence, like wait, like we just kind of like lost to Hydrapple here if we got Nasty Plotted on and had like fairy coverage. Like maybe we chip it down enough, but then like you're in this situation where you have like sacked your whole team to the Hydrapple, and then like he can leverage his Landorus, which probably Scarf Lando, or given that Cinderace wasn't Scarf.
Yeah, in retrospect, like the steel part actually also kind of saves me because I can always revenge with hands. But I think if
Mm-hmm.
he was nasty, he was like fairy or even dragon, like
Yeah,
nasty dragon, that would have blown my head off probably.
yeah, and then the Defiant boost on the Ogerpon is like then the next like most like devastating thing in this battle, because now you literally have no play at all
The thing
here.
is, like, I thought like in my head, I was really just going in because I knew that I was gonna cudgel twice, and even
Mm-hmm.
if he like, I don't know if he had T Wave or not, but I was kind of open to the idea like Overpon's gonna have to cudgel through this clef. Maybe I'm gonna get parried, but and then I'll have to rely on Darkrai to be my fast guy.
Mm-hmm.
But like then, then like I come
Well,
in,
then
move
you,
that
hey,
super
then we're
drop, and
plus
I was
two,
like,
and then it's
well,
like, all right, well, we're getting at
well,
least
this is
one
pretty
Pokemon.
simple.
We might get more than one.
Yeah, I thought I faced a lot of Scarf Cinder in Mox,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't expect that I'd be staying in for a while, but then he took a really long time to pick his move, and then I think he went Lando. And
Yeah, or he went Hydrapple after, right? So like we get the
oh,
boost,
Hydrapple, that's
we
right. That's
embody
right, yeah.
us. Yeah, we Terra, we kill the Clef, and then he goes Hydrapple here, knowing that he lives. We go Stomping Tantrum here. I mean, you would probably live the superpower. No, you wouldn't live the superpower, but you probably not predicting superpower into this team. Stomping
Yeah, it
Tantrum's
does
like a
have
little
low
bit better
kick, but
coverage for that.
yeah, you need the tantrum to hit a poison. That's why because like low kick
Exactly.
doesn't hit poison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we Dragon Tail it out. We go into Iron Hands, and then we go over the Ice Punch here. I was saying you were right. You had the Ice Punch here. I guess like in theory it like doesn't technically matter like too much, but obviously you have the Ice Punch for
Sin
like the more.
said
You have the Ice Punch
Sin
for the
said he's
more
gonna
effect.
encore without if not for the drop, he said he's gonna encore. So Ogre was gonna kill Clef either way, it seems like.
Yeah, and then you're going Cinder. You belt Tantrum was a roll. Same with Low Kick. Yeah, yeah. Ice
Look,
Punch
there is
into
low kick.
Finish.
I thought low kick would do a lot more. I thought low kick was strong against Hydrapple.
I don't. Maybe I'm not sure.
I will look right now. Uh, no, it looks like he is right. I think low kick's not that strong.
Yeah, it looks heavy, but it's not actually that fat. And then we get through the
I
end
know. I
game
feel
here
like it
where
should be
we,
heavy.
yeah. Then we get to the end game here where we just call mind up on the Landorus basically to just lock up an end game where we kill both Landorus and Cinderace and simplify it against like potential random like Mickey stuff from Choice Scarf. I never actually killed
Yeah.
Durox. Damn.
The play that was like kind of it ended up looking bad, but I feel like it was right. I had to think about it more. Was when the Hydrapple was low, I had hands out and I raw ice punched. My
No, I
thinking
would. The
there
chat. No,
was
the chat was telling you to ice punch there, and then they were asking you to check the type chart after. So chat was right. Everyone was
that
right there. Everyone was ice punching there with you. So don't let.
the thing is that like I was Shuka for Lando, so I knew that I could afford to get it wrong because no
Mhm.
because like Lando and Cinder are never killing me, even if
Yeah.
I get it wrong. So and then I also thought the Hydrapple was more valuable because he switches out, gets his health up.
Hmm.
Lando kind of doesn't because I had Crocodile alive still, so that's like
Hmm.
an intimidate too. It doesn't break through Necrozma. Um, so and like even one earthquake is going to drop dark by. So I felt like Lando's time
Hmm.
was kind of spent there, and I
Yeah.
felt like Hydrapple was gonna go. And obviously, like if he's Yachi, which I was pretty much operating on the idea that he was the whole time. If he's Yachi, like I have to ice punch twice. I have to get the
Hmm. Yeah, you have
two
to
ice
break the
punches.
Yachi to lock in any of the other potential situations you need. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And then the potential Shiest part at the end with the Cinderace set, which did look danger. The calcs looked danger, but it sounds like given your sets that we were safe. Um,
yeah.
we
Sin,
were
I gave
safe
Sin
going
my
through.
pace, and he said that apparently there are rolls that drop them both, but it looks like, but I think like the odds are very low
Mm-hmm.
of him getting both rolls and not missing every single one.
True. I did four pyros. Like hitting four pyros is sometimes asking a lot.
Yeah, to
As
hit
someone
four
who's
pyros and get like two really like whack rolls.
mm-hmm. And Kaz usually on the winning side of the whack rolls anyway.
And
Um,
I don't even. I don't know if that's true. That might be true.
that's only true. That's true against me, at least in the last time we played.
True.
You
I roll
scanned
hacked
me.
you so hard last time. That was so bad.
Dude, Matty Brolic would have called a reset. It was that level. That was that tier of rolls. Um,
True. Yeah. I think I got like three rolls on you.
Now, I mean, to be fair, in that battle, I got benefited from the fact that you just like didn't use the calc properly and like netted like two
True.
free kills. So I think I'll take that.
True, but that's my fault.
Yeah.
That's just
Um,
being bad. It's being worse.
no, that'll be the next league. It'll be the quality of life draft league. No more calc mishaps. Only Pokemon that are nice in the calculator. King Gambit, Terapagos, Palafin, all gone. Um,
That's Aura.
that will be Aura. No, the next league we do of this will be Auras because that is true Aura for all of the fans. I guess that's it. I don't really have much else to say. I don't know, Kaz, if you have anything else to say on the matchup or the battle. I think we covered most of what we were thinking, and I guess most of what you thought, unless you had anything particularly insightful left to say about this matchup.
Um, the funniest thing ever, I will say, is last matchup there was a G King instead of a Sableye. I didn't think Sableye's matchup was that great,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. And when I say great, I more mean kind of like what you guys discussed. It's obviously exploitable by Prim, by Quirk, by Darkrai. But at the end of the day, like you're trying to throw it out, keep it set up in the cross at bay, and then like get some screens up. Like that's it's gonna be able to get it done. So when I say it wasn't great here, I don't mean it's a bad bring. I just mean
Mm-hmm.
um, there are things that I can do that are sort of favorable. But it's for that reason I was banking on it actually not coming.
Mm-hmm.
And this matchup, in my opinion, is actually extremely difficult for me, and the mocks were very hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I had lead Necrozma, weakness policy, Calm Mind, and then my two attacks were Photon and Psyshock, strictly for PP reasons. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if lead U-turn Cinder or Lando pop this as I CM, then I'm just gonna literally just one shot Clef. And then I said like in one of the because I'm recording this whole
Mm-hmm.
series, this whole season, as you know. And I said like if you bring Sableye, then like I'm just fucked, I guess.
It's like, well, all
You
right, this
love
idea
those
just doesn't fucking
Sableye.
work. Yeah, no, that's tough. And Sableye, I mean, the reflect idea was good, but I think I think this set made sense. Like we were thinking like T Spike or G Weezing. Obviously, like it's hard to lead that Pokemon because like Necro lead is so free here against like the entire team. That like G
Yeah,
Weezing is
Necro's
hard to
definitely my
lead.
best Pokemon in the matchup.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So it's like a hard lead. And like, but like T Spikes are so good here. That like would have been worth
Dude,
finding a situation. But
in regular season and this week, like I would the mockers because you know how it is, especially because we know all these people. The mockers love T Spike, like they just do.
yeah.
Which like
Dude,
whatever.
there's nothing that gets Owen going more than like when he does a mock. Dude, everyone just puts T Spikes on their team every week. So I'll give Cinerat credit for not just like auto including T Spike on a draft build when he doesn't see a poison type.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm not hating in terms of like, well, really in general. I mean, if you like T Spike, it is what it is. But in both regular season and this one, like, I faced so many T Spikes, and T Spike sets were fucking my builds. So
Mm-hmm.
this is like I literally brought like three boots guys and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah. In this orbit that we're in, you always get T Spike practice from your mockers. But
Yeah.
when I was building like these other teams that relied on Necrozma doing other things that wasn't a lead and whatnot, like yeah, T spikes were just eating me alive.
Boots spam is goaded. Dude, Boots is the best item. That
Yeah,
is
it
just
is.
undeniable fact.
I was Ebel Ogrepon last time, but I was Boots this time because T Spike was just too bad.
Yeah, no, T Spike is just nasty. Yeah, I knew how the ones would be Boots. Yeah, I don't know. It's
They
a weird.
were.
Yeah, they were. It's one of those weird things, right? In that like, it's kind of like it's so player. It's hard. I hate like the idea of like making building decisions based on the player of like trying to estimate how many boots they have or will bring. Though I guess like in a rematch it like makes it a little different. Um,
Yeah, I mean the first week I actually didn't bring a lot of boots,
hmm I would have
but
been
then I
shocked
did
if
this
Kaz brought
week.
six boots. Six boots is like very much like it's like six boots is a very special build. You have to have like very specific situations to do six boots. Um, I can't think like the only situations that I think it really makes sense is if you play like Clodsire or something, and then you get to play a 6v5 in that matchup, which like losing like the relevant items like Scarf actually help.
Yeah, I played the whole season without removal. I think there might have been one time this season I brought five boots, but I know I brought four like a
Mm-hmm.
couple times.
Four, yeah, four is like the most common, I would say. Like you have four boots, a Scarfer, and then like a random item that like enables like offensive
Some
anger or
yeah.
like Rocky Helmet to like it might be defensive, it might have to take a lot of hazards, but it'll net its damage with the Rocky Helmet despite the
Yeah,
damage
something to
effectively.
that effect.
Yeah. But yeah, six boots is very much like I'm playing against like a team with a Weber that like actually has a viability to come, or like I'm playing something like Clodsire or something stupid like that that you can just like bring six boots and like completely invalidate one Pokemon, and that makes your matchup much easier. But yeah, four boots is like the common on these like no removal teams, um, in 16 mod at least. All right. Well, I don't know. I think that's all we have to say for today, um,
Yep,
on
that's
this
all.
finals. Thank you everyone for watching. The chat was bumping for like most of the night, which is pretty sweet. Everyone was enjoying this. This is a pretty good game. Um, yeah, that's all I have for today. Next video on Sunday for LTM. I know everyone's been super enjoying my LTM season. It's been a fucking joy to watch, but hopefully this one will be a little more entertaining. So yeah, we'll see everyone next time and have a wonderful day.